Hi, I'm Shane.
And I'm Miranda, or Chicky. Join us as we undertake one of our biggest adventures yet.
Exploring the whole of New Zealand in 2 months.
And sharing a campervan together.
Our plans this year to embark on a 3-month Canada-Alaska road trip were ruined due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So we thought, what a great opportunity to get out and explore the country that we live in, without the busloads of international travelers that this spectacular place attracts.
Each episode will take you to a different region throughout New Zealand and show you all the must-dos along the way, along with some of the more adventurous activities most tourists tend not to risk.
In episode 5, we head to Hawke's Bay on the east coast of New Zealand's North Island and continue our journey south via the Tongariro National Park. There we summit Mount Doom from the Lord of the Rings and embark on a 3-day adventure on the volcanic Northern Circuit. We return back to the rugged east coast and get up close and personal with the local wildlife.
Alrighty, so we are about to head up the east coast now. If I'm speaking really slow, it's because I'm super tired. Miranda is driving this morning. Yes. And I am going to sleep. Now, I understand the rules of the road. Co-pilot should stay awake at all times, but every single day, this co-pilot over here has a little snooze. So it is my turn to have my snooze now. Heading to a place called the Rere Rock Slides, which is like a natural water slide. Should be a pretty fantastic day. Then we go via Gisborne down to Napier and Hawke's Bay. So, should be some beautiful views along the coast. There you go, the first sunrise in the world. Check. Are you ready to drive today?
Yeah, there's no one on the road. So
Yeah, that's true. Just take it easy around those corners.
just have to make sure not to drive off a cliff, because
There's plenty of them.
it's a real danger.
It is real danger, so keep focus.
Yeah.
Take breaks if you need to. There we go. She's got this. Oh, I'm so tired. Actually, this landscape too. It reminds me of Hawaii, like the volcanic mountains meeting the sea, except with no people. Where are we?
We're at Tolaga Bay.
What do you think of Tolaga Bay?
It's beautiful.
That's what it is. Napier Beach. East coast of the East Cape. So we are in Gisborne right now, and kind of interesting. I didn't have much expectation for Gisborne, but it looks quite nice. Some of the beaches we passed on the way as well kind of look a little bit like California, you know. You've got these dry sort of rocky cliffs everywhere and things like that. It's much drier here on the east coast than it is in the west. Only a quick stop anyway. I'll be heading to Napier tonight. So 2 things I really love are water slides and rocks. And this combines those 2 passions together. We're at the Rere Rock Slides. I heard about this place about 10 years ago actually. Some old sort of videos that were circulating of this really cool natural water slide. And it's always been on my list ever since I came to New Zealand. So looking forward to checking it out. So Miranda's gonna give it a turn now. We didn't prepare ourselves properly and we didn't actually bring slides and boards like everyone else did, so we've got our kayak seat. It's already covered in moss. Give that a bit of a clean up. All right, your turn, Miranda. Oh, it's going backwards. Oh no! What do you think of Roro Falls, Chicky? This whole area has actually been really beautiful, hasn't it? We're having way too much fun. Up here at Tamata Peak, which is outside of North Havelock and Hastings area on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand. Beautiful sunset up here. You can see all down the back there into sort of the Hawke's Bay region as well, which is really, really nice. This is where we'll be spending the overnight. We did run into some car issues again. We were up on the peak up there at Tamata, and the tire just started leaking air. We've got a spare tire, which is good, but we don't really have a jack, so we've called up AA, which is our insurance company, and they're coming down to meet us at the middle car park here, which is a little bit more accessible for them. So while we wait, we're just going to enjoy the sunset. There are worse places to wait in the world. So we're here at the Clifton Road free camping site down on Hawke's Bay, the beautiful Hawke's Bay. Over there is Napier, which is where we'll be heading for lunch. Got Cape Kidnappers over here, which is unfortunately closed at the moment. We did want to go up and hike that. That was our original plan. But yeah, we're gonna stop in Napier first. Got some car issues. We had tyre go flat last night, so we need to get that fixed. And then we'll head on to Taupo, and then after that we'll be heading to Tongariro to prepare ourselves for the Great War, staying at the Whakapapa holiday park tonight. Miami, baby. Town of Napier, and Napier is famous for the Art Deco buildings. I was reading that it has the highest concentration of Art Deco buildings in the world for a small city, and that's because in the 1930s they had a huge earthquake here that devastated much of the area, and when they rebuilt the city itself, they actually rebuilt it in the style that was popular at the time, which was the Art Deco style. So that's why it kind of feels like that small Miami when we go through here. It's really, really cool. Beautiful place. I think he likes me, Cheeky, sorry. Miranda loves dogs so much. good, puppy? Guy with the dog. Already, I'm starting to feel like this is one of my favorite towns in all of New Zealand. This is absolutely stunning. I only wish that we had a few days here. I've only got like a couple of hours while our car gets fixed to explore, and it is such a beautiful area. All of it. Juxtaposition between all this beautiful art and the destruction from the earthquake. Wow, that's where we are. It's kind of crazy how different it kind of looks like a war. So this talks about the destruction. It's like manga meets Māori. There's Oscar the Grouch down there too, Chicky. That was you yesterday. Be a tidy Kiwi, clean up. It's beautiful. These trees are massive. So we're down here at the Napier Wharf area, and it's kind of that real industrial flat sort of wharf area, very rustic looking. I like it. I'm just loving the decor of this place. So funky. So where are we, Chicky? So right now we're on the shores of Lake Taupo, which is actually the largest lake in New Zealand. But not only is it the largest lake in New Zealand, it's also a dormant supervolcano. And this is actually the caldera, which is the collapsed crater of a supervolcano that erupted in 186 AD. And this was a massive eruption. They say it's one of the biggest eruptions to have happened in the last 10,000 years. Now, the eruption was so massive that it covered an area of 20,000 square kilometers, completely destroyed the whole region of the central area of the North Island of New Zealand. It is dormant and it is unlikely to re-explode again, but if it was, it would create a huge amount of damage. In the backdrop there, however, are a bunch of volcanoes that we'll be visiting over the next couple of days up in the Tongariro National Park. Through the clouds you can kind of see Ruapehu, and this is an active volcano, Ruapehu, so we're constantly monitoring the news and the activity just to see if it is safe for when we go up there. But we'll be cruising around Lake Taupo all the way to Tongariro, where we head now. So we've arrived here at Whakapapa village in the Tongariro National Park. The weather is a little bit different to Napier. We're up here in a high plateau which tends to attract a lot of rain. We sort of just checked into the visitor centre to figure out for our great walk, our 4-day, 3-night trek that we've got booked and planned, and
You know, we've been so concerned with the seismic activity and hot lava and things like that we forgot to think about the other extreme, which is snow. Being up so high, this is actually a ski field up here at Ruapehu in the national park in the winter time, and they've just advised us that after tomorrow they've got 2 days of snow forecast for the area, which we didn't see in our forecast at all. So we've had to rearrange a lot of our plans, and we're doing the official part of the crossing tomorrow, and started basically cutting off a day, so it's all changed. Tongariro National Park was created in 1894 after a Māori chief gave the land to the Crown under the condition it was to be protected. It became the 4th national park in the world, and in 1993 was the first place to be given the UNESCO World Heritage status of cultural landscape, furthering its protection. Going Mount Doom, Mount Narahoi. I got it right. Yes. There we go. I'm practicing. So behind me here we have Mount Narahoi, which is also known as Mount Doom in Lord of the Rings. If you're a bit of a Lord of the Rings geek like myself, you get really excited about this. We're about to do the Northern Circuit, which is supposedly a 4-day trek. We've actually cut off the first day of the trek because the weather is supposed to be really bad tomorrow. Department of Conservation advised against us doing this high crossing tomorrow when it's snowing. So we're going to do it today when it's nice and beautiful. So we'll head out over the mountains, and we've got 2 nights in some overnight huts, and we'll show you all the great things along the way and why this is known as one of the best hikes in the world. So normally this is one of the most popular hikes in New Zealand, if not the most popular hike, and right now it's just empty. Like, it's kind of crazy to think that outside of COVID this place would be bustling, and right now it's so peaceful and calm, which is part of the reason why we're here right now, not any other time. Already feels like a long way up, but really we're only halfway. That was the easy part. I don't think I've ever seen these on trails before. Shows how popular it is. You can imagine just anybody coming up here with no hiking experience. Day trippers. So this talks here about how the region was formed through a combination of glacial movement and also the volcanic eruptions. So you can see that this lava wall over here during the Ice Age actually stopped the glacier from moving through the region itself, so the valley was formed underneath this way. Mount Narahu was actually formed, the conical shape was formed by an explosion 7,000 years ago. And the most recent eruption, it says here, happened in 1954. Now, if you have a look at this part here, it says that today the mountains are still alive. Eruptions can occur at any time without warning. So fingers crossed, hopefully that's not going to be while we're up there. So this explains here what a pyroclastic flow is. It's essentially when the volcano erupts and spews out rocks and stuff, which can travel at about 80 kilometers per hour and reach up to 800 degrees Celsius, so it's really, really hot. The last time the volcano erupted was between 1973 and 1977, and there were actually a group of people up here that had to race down and find shelter as quickly as possible. Luckily, it says here that none of them were hurt or injured. So this talks about the volcanic stone beneath our feet. The Polynesian word or Maori word for it is aha. So we've decided to try to attempt to ascend Mount Narahoi with Vidas and Agne.
Yes.
And Vidas.
Yes.
Yes, all right, I'll pronounce that correctly. We've just met them from Lithuania. We're leaving our bags behind here because it looks pretty steep. Looks like we'll be doing a fair bit of scrambling, and we'll make it up to Mount Doom, where I'll throw Miranda in the volcano. That's called an active volcano. I can't carry the ring for you, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry. You're way too heavy.
So the fun part begins, the scrambling part. We started down there to get to the top. And it's kind of weird. Do you guys feel that the ground is a little bit spongy? Like it's soft almost? Yes, it is. It's really weird. You can tell that these rocks are porous. It's all that pyroclastic rock flow, kind of like pumice stone. It's really airy and the rocks are really light. Kind of crazy. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So it's starting to get a little bit steep and tough now. Whew. A little scrambling involved. We've decided to separate a little just to keep some space in case we're kicking down rocks. There's a lot of debris and scree making its way down. All this red volcanic lava stone, red and black stone. So this last part, there's a lot of scrambling on your hands and low on your legs. It's really crumbly here. You can actually feel how hot the ground is right now from, I'm guessing, the geothermal activity below. And it's kind of 2 steps up, 1 step sliding down. We're almost at the top there. It's tough. I would say that this is not for inexperienced hikers. I can see the smoking chimney from here. Closer to the vents that we get, you can see the soil starting to change colours with this yellow sulfuric sort of residue. See one of those just here at the side of the mountain. Black volcanic soil as well. Probably a good idea to stay away from this red and black smoky soil. Getting a little bit of a bad feeling about it. That is awesome.
Oh my God.
That is absolutely crazy. See all the smoke coming out of everywhere. So that's the actual crater right there itself.
Yeah.
But I think that those rocks are way too hot to climb. So we've just scrambled up the side of Mount Narahoi, or Mount Doom. That's where we'll be going later, down there. So I keep referring to Mount Narahu as Mount Doom. The conical shape can be seen in the Lord of the Rings trilogy as Mount Doom itself, but a lot of Lord of the Rings fans might correct me there, and I am a Lord of the Rings tour guide, so I should know better. All the scenes that you see of Sam and Frodo on the slopes of Mount Doom were actually shot on that mountain over there in the background, which is Mount Ruapehu. And the reason why they shot up there is because of access. You know, they actually have a ski field up there on Mount Ruapehu, the Whakapapa ski field, and they basically went up there and shot all the close-up scenes there. All the distant scenes, though, is this volcano right here. Didn't look so difficult in the film. It's a very short sequence compared to what we just went through, scrambling on our hands and knees. You can see all the smouldering steam and smoke. There's a bit of snow up there, which means it might be a little hard to climb up to the actual crater itself. So I'm glad Frodo didn't encounter that on the way up. He could have just done this. This is what I would have done. Far enough.
Yeah.
That's good. It's probably just monitoring the seismic activity, looking over, going, yep, it's gonna blow any minute now. So now's the fun part. We get to ski on our way down without skis. kind of go with the rock fall. It's much easier, although you do get shoes filled with rock. Didn't think I'd ever be running down the side of a volcano. But if there was an emergency, this is how you do it. This is crazy. Now we're actually on the proper Tongariro crossing hike, the one that every other tourist is taking. Today there's not that many tourists, which is kind of cool. It's so freaking windy up here. We're gonna make our way down to these beautiful blue sulfuric lakes. Yeah, silica, which is like the pools have a lot of, is good for your hair. Beautiful blue pools. So we're almost down to our crossroads now. Okay, so this is us here, 1.5 hours to go, which is a good thing because we've pretty much run out of water and it's mostly downhill, so we can fill up there. Say goodbye to our new friends over there. Be catching up with them again in Queenstown, having a beer. But in the meantime, let's go and explore. Right now it is so tempting to jump in this water, but it's actually very disrespectful to the Maori people to do so, so we are staying clear and just dreaming of it.
There are many sites within the national park considered tapu, or sacred, due to the long historical and cultural connection the Maori people have to this landscape.
All those geothermal vents are sort of blowing over towards me now. It smells like I'm back in Rotorua already. So these beautiful little pools, they're actually springs, and forming a little river, and I think it forms into a waterfall shortly. Looks like where we're going is the desert though. Great place to have no water, and this beautiful clean looking stream of potentially toxic water next to you. So tempting. It's so dangerous. Imagine the amount of tourists that are doing the day hike, making their way down here and getting lost in the middle of this desert. Chiki's having a great time right now. Dehydrated. She fell over and cut her hand.
Yeah.
What happened to the band-aid I gave you?
Came off, so I put it in the pocket.
Good, she's not polluting. It's good, Chiki. You can see Mount Ruapehu over here as well. Every hill we climb over, I can see the look of hopelessness in Miranda's face. She's experiencing the true desert experience. We both run out of water. I think we're in Emmenweel. I said, I think we're in Emmenweel. It's a labyrinth of razor-sharp rocks. After that,
We have a festering marshland as far as the eye can see.
So our 5 to 6 hour hike today turned into a 9.5 hour effort. But we have finally arrived to the Owhiro hut. Kind of now know what camel herders must feel when they're wandering through the desert and they come across an oasis. Let's hope that this hut is not a mirage. Okay, so we're about to start day 2 of the Tongariro Northern Circuit. We're here at the Owhiro hut. It looks like it's a super windy day outside and there is forecast for storms to roll in late morning after or around lunchtime-ish. So hopefully we'll get to the next hut by then. We had an awesome day yesterday. It was spectacular. They say one does not simply walk into Mordor. I think we gave it a pretty good crack, right? It was an awesome day. So today, only 3 hours of hiking, which is good. Hopefully we don't get too wet.
These big lava structures. It literally does look like a labyrinth of razor sharp rocks.
Wind is freaking intense. It's Saruman! To bring down the mountain! Oh. So it looks like the rains are coming past our halfway point, so we'll be heading to the hut.
The storm is a-coming.
Alright, so we're making our way out of this open area here and into the sheltered forest over there. It's native beech forest. Fanghorn Forest. What madness drove them there?
Too many bridges on this hike. Very unusual for New Zealand.
We've already made it to the Waiahonu hut. Very, very easy day today. It said 3 hours. How long were we, Miranda? She's got the exact time.
So we were 2 hours and 19 minutes.
2 hours and 19 minutes. Easiest hike day ever. Oh wow, this hut looks really nice. Oh, hi, how's it going? Oh god, this is a beautiful hut, I tell you what. This is one of the nicest huts I've stayed in. One of the great things about these huts on this Great Walk as well is that they have their own little gas cookers. So even though we brought our own little portable stove, we didn't have to bring any gas, which is awesome. So we are saying goodbye to the Waihonu hut, and I was reading that the Waihonu actually means in Maori, I think it's deep water or deep river, so that's where we're leaving right now. So our journey today is taking us to the Whakapapa village, which is where we actually started our trip. It does recommend 5 hours and 45 minutes, but we have heard from some people who have done this trip that it is much quicker than that. Also as well, we plan to go via the Tama Lakes if the weather sort of holds out for us, which is supposed to be spectacular, but it is another hour and a half side trip as well. Gorgeous views, right, honey? Right now we are in front of the old Waihonu hut, which was the first hut built in the Tongariro National Park. In fact, it is actually the oldest surviving recreational hut in New Zealand. Now, it was built in 1904, and that was to sort of facilitate the old desert road, which we'll undertake tomorrow, which was built in 1893. And it's quite funny, and it's quite strange that this hut has survived all these years, considering the extreme weather conditions and the occasional volcanic activity that this area receives. So it is a little bit of a testament to its design. I'm going to go through now and have a little bit of an explore. We're in the men's quarters. The most important thing they have up there, not only the skis to get in and out in the winter, but also a cricket bat as well. In the fireplace. So you can actually see up here on top of the two volcanoes, Ruapehu and Narahoi, that we had some fresh snowfall last night, which is really cool. We're actually towards the end of spring right now, and they're still getting decent snowfalls up in these mountains. Just shows how high up these plateaus are. And up there in Ruapehu is the Whakapapa ski field. So it's the main ski field here up on the North Island. It's kind of crazy skiing on a volcano, an active volcano.
There are many legends and stories of the mountains in Tongariro National Park. It is traditionally known as the belly of the great fish of Maui, which represents the North Island. Legend has it that a priest travelled inland and tried to summit Mount Tongariro, but was almost killed by a freezing southern wind. He used his final breaths to call upon his spiritual ancestors to assist him.
It's just so serene out here and open. I love it.
After hearing his calls, they summoned warmth from many geothermal locations and sent the heat to him underground, forming the surrounding volcanoes and geysers, which revived him with their warmth and assisted him on his journey. The name Tongariro comes from those freezing southern winds.
So just behind me there below Mount Narahoi is the lower Tama Lake, which we'll be making our way down to very shortly. About to cross over this ridge up here, and this ridge is the division between the Waikato region, where we've just come from, and the Manganui region, which we're about to go into. It's the different regions here in New Zealand. So we've got a volcano in front of us, and then a volcano behind us. What could go wrong? So we're about to make our way up to the upper Tama Lake, which is a 45-minute hike. I love how these toilets sort of blend in with the environment. They've got all the tussock all over it. It's pretty cool. So behind me here we have lower Tama Lake. And about 10,000 years ago, this place here was a hotspot for volcanic activity. There were at least 6 craters in the area at the time that were spewing out hot magma and fire. And these formed the craters that are now part of the Tama Lakes. We'll see the up one in just a moment. Over time, these craters filled in with water, and now they are these pristine, beautiful lakes that we have behind us here. And they actually are home to a species of liverwort, which is found nowhere else in New Zealand.
Incredible views. So the Tama Lakes were named after a man named Tamatea, who was a high chief of the Takatimu canoe. He explored this area 6 centuries ago.
Tamatea is famous throughout the North Island as one of the earliest high chiefs to sail to Aotearoa and explore the interior with larger-than-life legends of his journey.
There's Ruapehu there, and this is where we're going, Whakapapa village. Almost there. Almost there, the chickie.
We're at the top here of Taranaki Falls, and the reason why we're at the top and not going down to the bottom is because a year ago, or just over a year ago, Miranda and I came out here to do the Tongariro Alpine crossing, and we ran into really bad weather. So our shuttle bus was cancelled, and we were sort of stranded at the Whakapapa village and decided to do some small walks, this being one of them. And I won't lie, the waterfalls are spectacular. If I was to do this without that prior experience, I certainly would be going down there because it is amazing, but I have to just check out our earlier video. So this has been a truly fantastic experience, and I'm really glad that we undertook the northern circuit as opposed to just the alpine crossing that most tourists will undertake when they come up here, which is just a single day hike on the first day that we did. What did you think? Pretty amazing trip?
The scenery has been nothing short of epic. I knew it was going to be good, but man, the weather really helped out in the end as well, and we changed our plans around the weather, and wouldn't change a thing. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, the weather has been spectacular, and we did try to undertake this trek about a year ago, or at least the alpine crossing, the single day trek, and as you can see up on top of Ruapehu up here and also Narahoi, the clouds tend to sort of congregate around these conical shaped mountains, the volcanoes themselves, and quite often the weather is quite extreme down here, so it was really good that we sort of timed things perfectly, and the only rain that we actually got was on the second day, which is the shortest day. Is there anything that you would have changed about this?
I don't think so.
Really? I will say for me the highlight was actually climbing up Narahoi, and it's something that we've sort of thought about since as well. We were reading at the last hut that the Department of Conservation actually discourages people from climbing up Narahoi up there, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is because of hazards, safety reasons. So you might have seen us climbing up there and scrambling up there, and there are a lot of loose rocks falling down, and it is quite steep. I would recommend, if you were to consider climbing up there, one, have plenty of hiking experience, but two as well, maybe bring some safety equipment. You know, helmets would have been a great idea if we'd thought about that beforehand. But the second reason as well is it's discouraged because it's actually it's a little bit disrespectful to the traditional owners of the land, the Maori people, and the reason being is because it is a sacred site up there, and they don't really want people climbing up on the sacred site, and it's probably something we would have considered if we knew that beforehand. I always think taking into consideration, you know, the respects of the indigenous people of any place is always an important thing. So it is something to look into. But I will say as well, Ruapehu is also supposed to be a sacred site, and they do go skiing up there. Not that that justifies climbing up Narahoi at all. So just definitely something to consider before actually climbing up there. So we're back. Chicky has taken her new lover, the glorious Benny. She's so grateful to be here. It was a long trip actually, it was a long day, but it was beautiful, it was great. It's time to relax. I have myself a beer already in the fridge at the campervan park.
So I've got a little bit of a Lord of the Rings theme today on our drive. We're actually heading right now up to the Whakapapa ski field, so we'll talk a little bit about some of the Lord of the Rings scenes that were shot up here. Then we're going to go down via the Desert Road, which is a famous scenic drive, and we'll make our way down south through Palmerston North. We'll do a quick shop down there and eventually make our way out to Castle Point, which is out on the east coast, a little bit further down south. It's meant to be really, really beautiful down there as well, so hopefully we can get some nice views down near the lighthouse at the end of the day.
So there we have Mount Narahoi, or Mount Doom in the background, the one that we climbed just a few days ago. So behind me here we have Mead's Wall, which was actually used in the Lord of the Rings film in The Two Towers, the second film. If you remember at the start, you have Frodo and Sam sort of rummaging through this sort of volcanic-like landscape of sharp geological features, big rocks everywhere known as Emyn. In fact, they shot a lot of that stuff in this national park as well. But the particular scene I want to talk about is where they're both approached by Gollum. You can see Sam and Frodo camped out beneath the base of a cliff, which is this cliff over here, and then Gollum scales down the wall. So that's exactly where they shot that. Also over here as well, you've got a little bit of a plain. And this plane was shot at the very start of the first film, Fellowship of the Ring. You might remember a huge battle taking place. It's sort of the last alliance at the end of the Second Age. And they actually shot that down here in this field here, and obviously used a fair bit of CGI in the background to make that look a lot more expansive. But this is where a lot of the acting took place. So just doing a little bit of walking right now through some parts of Middle Earth. There is the wall that I was just talking about before. So this is where Frodo and Sam were sleeping when Gollum crawls down the wall to attack them. Once my precious. So we ended up changing our plans a little bit. We didn't end up going out to the desert road. One thing that you don't really think about when you're planning these types of trips is, where am I going to find petrol? And we were looking around for places to get fuel, and there was nothing on the way to the desert road, unfortunately. And it would have been an extra like 35-40 minute detour just to get out there. So we decided not to do that, but we have stopped at another place that was a little bit out of the way. We're in a place called Mokai right now, and it was home to a place called the Gravity Canyon. This was a giant bungee jump, and the bungee jump itself, I did read somewhere that it was the highest in the North Island. I don't know if it was up until the time of closure, but these are one of those sort of forgotten victims of the COVID-19 crisis. I was having a look at some articles online, and in June they had to actually close their doors due to lack of funds and not being able to survive through that. But it is meant to be a spectacular gorge, and since we're on the theme of Lord of the Rings, this played the part of the Anduin River. How does it look, honey?
Massive.
It is a massive gorge.
It goes all the way down.
Oh, holy hell. So that you can see there is where the bungee bridge was. This is a real shame. It's such a beautiful place. I really hope that someday they're able to open back up. There is also a whitewater rafting company around here. I'm not sure if that's still around or if it's also gone into liquidation, but this is nuts. So you can see down here, this part of the gorge, this is where they filmed the first shot of the Anduin River in Fellowship of the Ring. So you might remember where the Fellowship leave Lothlorien, and they've been gifted their elven boats. They actually used 4 different rivers for the Anduin River, and this is the first one right here that they shot on. Strawberry fields forever. So we are here at our destination for the evening, Castle Point. You can see the Castle Point Lighthouse right up there. Pretty spectacular, you know. We were driving for a few hours pretty much in the middle of nowhere through countryside, and all of a sudden this little town pops up on this beautiful beach with these stunning cliffs and rolling hills and this picturesque lighthouse which looks as much like, you know, the iconic image of a lighthouse that you could possibly ever imagine.
Beware of the tentacles of the octopus.
Okay.
It's an octopus said to hide in the cave beneath the lighthouse and was supposed to have hidden in the Tiana o Te Weka o Muturangi, otherwise known as the Cave of the Octopus of Muturangi.
This place is spectacularly beautiful. This is something that Miranda planned on the trip. I didn't even really look too much into it. Usually I do a fair bit of the planning with her, and didn't think much of it. Didn't see any photos, didn't see any videos, and it's blowing us away. This is great, right? Beautiful.
And the lighting is just so beautiful.
Yeah. Miranda's gonna get up for sunrise tomorrow and document it all while I sleep.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I told you you could go for a bath in there, Miranda. So we found ourselves another seal over here. And here's another seal. Alright, so how was that, Chicky?
So good.
What was so good about it?
We saw seals.
How many
New
seals?
Zealand fur seals. We saw 3 to 4. We can't tell if the one we saw swimming in the water before was also the one that ended up on the ledge later on, but 3 to 4 fur seals. Now that's pretty good for an evening. We're all just basking.
Miranda's keeping count. So we'll have a look again in the morning and see if we can see some more. This is our position up here for sunset. Nice little picnic watching the premiere of our first episode.
So we found it was a great opportunity to go out.
Beautiful up there, isn't it? And we have seals over here. I don't know if this will pick it up, but yeah, there's a fair few of them. Oh, you can kind of see them.
So we're gonna head off
Over there.
Alrighty, so we are on our way out to Cape Palliser today. We left in the morning, or mid-morning I should say, from the Castle Point region where we camped last night in our free campground. And we just stopped for lunch in a place called Masterton and picked up some groceries, and we're heading out. Our plan today was to stop and do the Pinnacles out on the way to Cape Palliser, which is used for the Paths of the Dead, the Dimholt Road in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. But it's about a 3-hour hike, and it's really, really windy today, like ridiculously windy. So we're probably going to head straight out to Cape Palliser today, and either camp there out on the Cape. There's a whole bunch of seal colonies, which should be really cool. Or if it is a little bit too windy out in the Cape, we might head back to the Pinnacles, which is on the same road, and camp there overnight. Either way, if we don't do the Pinnacles today, we'll do them tomorrow for sure.
So we've sort of had a bit of a chat and decided to do the Putangirua Pinnacles today. You know, we had a look at the different options here because it looks like there's 3 different options there. You've got the Pinnacles lookout, and then you've got the Pinnacles via the stream bed. Both of those say 1.5 hours return. We were wanting to do the loop track, which does recommend here 3 to 4 hours return, but on my All Trails app, it says that there's a loop track there that's 1.5 hours, which kind of seems to take in, you know, the lookout and the stream bed. So we can sort of see a faint brown line there. I don't know if it's a defined track or if it's some sort of goat track. We could probably do 1.5 hours right now and still get to our campsite down at Cape Palliser by sunset. So we're energetic, we're ready to go. The weather's okay right now, and tomorrow it is forecast to rain in the morning, so we thought we may as well take advantage of it, get out there now, see the Dimholt Road, the Paths of the Dead. So the trail to the lookout was well signposted and quite easy to connect from there to the other trail, the streambed trail. So I'm not sure why it didn't suggest that loop down on the map at the park, but it's very, very easy to do. And looking at the way the trail works at the moment, 1.5 hours seems correct return, so you can do a smaller loop than the one suggested at the map in the park. So behind me here we have the Pinnacles themselves, and the Pinnacles actually have a special name, which is hoodoos. Now they were formed between 12 and 14 million years ago, at a time when this part of New Zealand was actually below the sea floor. Now over those millions of years we've had uplift between the 2 continental plates pushing up against each other, which has pushed these structures up above the air. Now they are comprised of gravels and crustaceans and corals, so it is all fossilized material as well. And as they're sort of pushed up, you've had the wind and the rain and the rivers come through and erode them to leave these pinnacle-like structures. Now on top of the structures up there, you can actually see what is known as a capping stone. And the capping stones themselves actually hold the structure together and stop the erosion from taking the whole structures down. You'll see a few without the capping stones, and they are actually gradually eroding away. Now, aside from being a really, really unique geological feature, this area here caught the interest of Peter Jackson when making the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And in the final film, The Return of the King, you can actually see Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli walking through this region here, known as the Dimholt Road, which lead them to the Paths of the Dead. So now we're going to go up and explore the Dimholt Road.
guarded by those who are dead, and the dead keep it. The way is shut.
So there you go, the Putangirua Pinnacles. Excellent spot. What did you think, honey?
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Great spot.
You may not have even ever seen the films, but this is a really, really beautiful spot, and it is definitely eerie. If you do watch Return of the King, it totally suits that scene. It creates that eerie vibe perfectly well. Now, the walk back along the riverbed.
Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson first used this area in his 1992 horror comedy film Brain Dead.
Chickie's gonna show us how you successfully cross a river. All right, so you got a backflip onto this one, and then triple twist. You forgot the triple twist. She forgot. Oh, I just missed it. Damn it! You can see here a shell. This is how fossils are formed.
So behind me here we have Cape Palliser, which is actually the southernmost point of the North Island of New Zealand. We've passed these beautiful, pristine little fishing villages along the way. It's really dynamic and amazing landscape. And all on the way you can see these cars lined up with fishermen along the beaches. So this place must be fantastic for fishing. And also as well, a lot of seals that I've heard are in this area. So we're going to go down to the Cape right now, explore, and possibly set up for the night right down there near the old lighthouse.
Old lighthouse up here from the 1800s. It's pretty amazing.
There's a seal on that rock.
There's a seal where?
Yeah. You see it moving?
There's a bunch of New Zealand fur seals down here. I'm gonna go check them out.
So we'll do a little bit of filming while we're here in the car because it's so windy out there, you won't hear a thing. We just saw a ridiculous amount of New Zealand fur seals, right Miranda?
Yes, it was amazing.
I don't know if you counted, I didn't count, but...
I didn't count.
Oh, how many did you see?
No, I didn't count.
didn't
There were
count.
some in the water as well.
I would say there were at least 20 there. We saw at least 20 New Zealand fur seals. I think our campground we passed quite a while ago. So we're here at the lighthouse now, right on the edge of the Cape. We're going to make our way up to the top of the lighthouse there. Shite, there is a lot of stairs. And I'm going to see if we can get a nice view from up there.
Oh, that's actually really steep. This is kind of cool. Almost there. Whew. Actually starting to break a sweat. This place is awesome. Cape Palliser, put it on the list. I don't know
must just cut right through the Tasman in the perfect angle, but that is the perfect sunset over the ocean right there. Just look out the van window. There's a seal up in there on the rock. It's so funny. She's like hugging a tree. Hey, buddy. So cute. Just got a little scratch. There's so much like dogs.
They are.
So we are making our way from Cape Palliser now to Wellington. Famous windy Wellington, the capital of New Zealand. It feels like everywhere we've been in the last few days has been super windy, and I don't think it's about to change. We're staying in a little bay, a little coastal area just outside of Wellington called Owhiro Bay. So we'll stay there overnight and then we'll move a little closer into the city. So only a short day today, just a 2-hour drive. Maybe do a little bit of a stop here and there along the way, but basically a chill day. How rugged the ocean is in the background. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's really rough.
Oh god.
After returning to New Zealand's capital, we take a quick adventure into Middle-earth.
Mordor, Gandalf. Left or right?
We ferry back across the Marlborough Sound to the South Island with a quick break in Nelson. Before making our way up to the Farewell Spit, uncovering its remote coastal beauty. We begin our second official Great Walk of the trip, kayaking the pristine waters of the Abel Tasman National Park.
If you enjoyed this video, please let me know with a like and comment below. Also subscribe and hit the bell-shaped notification button to keep up to date with the new videos to be added from our epic New Zealand camper trip.